guys, it's Angel. Today I have a super fun recipe for you. As you guys know, I'm Taiwanese American, which means I love everything oysters. Oyster omelets, Taiwanese oyster noodles, and pan-fried oysters. So today I'm going to show you guys how to make pan-fried oysters. Not deep-fried oysters, but pan-fried oysters, which are super delicious. And to the person who I got this recipe from, thank you so much. This is really delicious. And if you guys have recipes that you guys want to send me, follow me on social media and DM me, and who knows, maybe your recipe will be in my next video. So if you guys are interested in pan-fried oysters, keep watching. All right, now for the ingredients. We have a ton of ingredients here. Don't be intimidated, they're really common. So the first one is oysters. You'll need a jar or two, or however many oysters that you want. We have fresh oysters here. And we'll also need some butter. I like using KerryGold pure Irish butter, very delicious, but you can also substitute with another butter. We'll also need some lemons, and I recommend 2 to 3 lemons on hand because we'll want to cook with the lemons and make it really like tart and lemony, which will bring out the flavors in the oysters. We will also need some eggs, 2 eggs here. Some avocado oil for pan frying in addition to the butter. Now for the coating, you can use panko crumbs, but honestly I've tried both ways and I really like taking saltine crackers, the salted kind, and crushing them up, and I feel like that makes a really nice crust. We will also need some all-purpose flour for dredging the oysters in. And for seasoning, I'm going to be using a blend of salt, pepper, and garlic. Okay, that's the bread machine going there. We're filming a bread machine video, so we'll have to wait. Sorry about that, guys. Dun, 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 dun. Are you done? Okay, bread machine's done. No, not yet. And now we can go ahead and start blanching the oysters. Now we're gonna blanch the oysters, and I'm just gonna fill this up with water. And now we're gonna let that come to a rolling boil. Now we're gonna put the oysters in. And if you're wondering, the reason why we want to blanch the oysters is so that it just plumps them up a little bit, making them extra juicy. Good texture too. Now, we've only let them blanch for about a minute, just so they're plump. And I'm just going to transfer them to a bowl while we go prepare the lemons. And I actually just like to rinse them in cold water, then let them soak in cold water while we prepare the other ingredients. Next, we'll make our cracker crumbs. You could definitely use panko, but I prefer the texture and the flavors of the saltine crackers. So here I just have a plastic baggie, and I'm going to add 1 sleeve of crackers to that. Now's the fun part. We close the bag, make sure it's sealed, and then we just start to crush the crackers. And I really like the texture of this, so we don't need to be super fine. I think that's more efficient. Okay, so as you can see, there's a little bit of fine crumbs in here, but there's also some larger pieces for texture. Totally up to you, but I kind of like it like this. And when you're done with the bag, crushing the crackers in the bag, just go ahead and pour it on a larger plate. A couple pinches, and just give that a nice toss. Next, I'll prepare the egg wash. So I have a plate, 2 eggs. We're just going to crush the eggs in there. And now we'll just whisk this together. I'm also going to season it. Just a pinch, maybe 2. Give that another whisk. So for the flour, I've got a plate here. This is all-purpose flour that I'm using. And I am also going to season the flour as well. So I'm going to do 2 to 3 liberal pinches. And the reason why I'm doing this is because a lot of the seasoning will likely get cooked off. So we want to make sure there's a lot of flavors in there. and a lot of seasoning. Today's pro kitchen tip is to clean as you go. It'll just make everything a lot easier. Next up, lemons. So I recommend using 2 lemons. We can also use a bit more, or you can use lemon juice as well. The lemon juice that you buy from the bottle, but I actually like using the fresh lemons. So I'm just gonna give the lemons a good roll, and that'll help break up the juices on the inside. I'm just gonna trim off the edges of the lemon, and we're gonna make lemon wedges. And sometimes I like to trim off the tops here. Just makes them prettier. Put the lemons off to the side. And it may look like we're cutting a lot of lemons here, but I assure you guys, the tartness of the lemons is going to be amazing with the oysters. It's just really gonna bring out the flavors. And you know what they say, when life gives you too many lemons, make lemonade, or what? Hope they're Lululemons. All right, so the first thing we'll want to do is set up our cooking station here. I've got the egg wash, the flour, the cracker crumbs, the seasoning, oysters, lemon, and the butter, and the avocado oil ready. The first thing we'll want to do is preheat our pan. I'm using a cast iron skillet here. We're going to preheat on low. Now that the pan is preheated, I'm going to use a coating of avocado oil all over the bottom of the pan. We're going to use avocado oil here instead of the butter because the butter will burn. So we'll finish it off with the butter later. Okay, now comes the fun part. Your hands are clean and now they're gonna get dirty. So I'll start with the oysters. We're just going to do a few at a time. So take the oysters out, put them in flour first. Just dredge them with flour, and there's no way around getting your hands dirty. You could use chopsticks, but it's so much easier to just dig in and use your hands. Give that a shake, and then we will move on to the egg wash. Give that a good toss in there. Okay. Now, cracker crumbs. Okay, now I'm going to wash my hands. Yeah, it's kind of gross. Now here's a good part where we can use our chopsticks. Make sure it's all covering the oyster. All right, now we're going to put the oysters directly into the pan. Alright, this is where we need to pay attention and be super careful because we don't want to burn the oysters. So make sure you just check in on them every now and then and turn when the crust is golden. And also, just so you guys know, I've messed this up so many times in the past. I think it took me 3 or 4 times to not burn them. So that is the tip of the day for you guys. And feel free to add a little bit more avocado oil if you need to. We want to make sure that the oysters are fully coated and pan fried in the avocado oil, and that'll give it a nice golden crust. And to ensure that you get a nice even coating in the oysters, you may have to tilt them on its side to make sure you get an even crust. Okay, once you feel like your oysters are about 70% brown, now what I like to do is give it extra flavor. I will put some butter in it. So we're going to finish off the cooking process with a little tablespoon of butter here. I know this is totally gluttonous, but so good. The butter will make it brown quickly, and it'll give it that nice flavor. Also, make sure you're watching your heat. Turn off, I've got a gas stove that has 2 knobs for one stove, so I'm gonna turn off one of them. And again, make sure that you're constantly flipping and turning so that's an even golden brown. And final step here, now that I've got the butter in and everything's looking like it's almost done and pan fried perfectly, I am going to hit it with another bit of the seasoning blend, or you can do salt and pepper, and 1 squeeze of lemon. And really the flavors of that last squeeze of lemon will soak into the crust along with the seasonings, and it is going to be delicious. It's going to be a nice balance to balance off the flavors and the seafood flavors of the oysters. And now that these are done, put them off to the side on a plate and then follow the same steps that we did earlier to cook off your other oysters. Now I'm just going to add another tablespoon of butter to the second batch. And guys, don't be afraid to be liberal with the butter, the seasonings, and your lemon, because this is what's going to give it a lot of flavor. Now the second batch is done, so I'm just going to take them off, put them on a larger plate before we transfer them to a serving plate. And that, guys, is how you make pan-fried oysters. So now let's do the taste test. This is going to be so good. What we want to do is squeeze a ton of lemon juice on there. So let's do this oyster right here. Just gonna squeeze a lot of lemon juice on there. Super generous amount, more than you think you guys need. Now I'm just going to cut this in half. See what they taste like. Oh wow. So the oysters are very rich, and then the outside is like crumbly, soft with that saltine cracker crumbs. And I love the flavors of the salt, the garlic, and the peppers. You can definitely taste the seasoning, and it's very buttery, and it's all just with that tart lemon that we finish it off with. It's just a ton of flavors. It's like a flavor explosion in your mouth. Super delicious. I'm Angel. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's pan-fried oyster video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And as my grandpa would say, sharing a meal with a fascinating stranger is one of life's true delights. So until we can share some pan-fried oysters together, take care, I love you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!